Hello. Oh my God. I'm always so happy to start, especially very first minute. I'm still like trembling. I feel, oh, it's like almost all the time the first time, but it is because it's always the newborn conversation. And every conversation for me, like a baby in my baby podcast. But I'm so honored to have my guest today. And hello, my beautiful audience. And in this episode of Diversity is the Game Changer, I'm more than honored to welcome a very inspiring person. You have no idea. And he is incredibly professional, remarkably talented, inspiring guest, Jeff Gomez. And our episode um, has very special name as well, and I called it Never Surrender. And it's power of storytelling, narrative and storytelling, and resilience. And you guys will find out very quickly why it's like that. But I would like to make a brief presentation, introduction of Jeff. Jeff is CEO of Starlight Runner Entertainment, visionary creative producer and transmedia storyteller. Pioneered that. Just incredible journey from facing challenges in his youth to create an expansive story world for major franchises like Pirates of the Caribbean, Avatar, Spider-Man, Ultraman Rising is a testament to resilience, creativity, and the power of storytelling. Welcome, dear Jeff. It's more than honored to have you today in our show. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Valeria. It's so great to be here, and I love the fact that I'm speaking from across the Atlantic to you.
Ocean, right? Oh my God.
Yes.
It's like transmedia, yeah. It's everything else which you actually now where you and me can you imagine we really like wow we are the best evidence of that. But I don't want to open all the secret yet because this is our hero and pioneer. So you will be opening the door to this your magic country, no planet. Let's call it planet.
Sure.
But of course, before that we start, it's my tradition, with little boy Jeff, his dreams, inspiration, his fairy tales, where he probably, or I know, used to escape, right? And I know that growing up you faced some challenges and probably shown for us how actually you believe those challenges, they shaped your sense of resilience, I know now, and your mindset and how they impacted your adulthood. Could you please tell us a little bit more about this little Jeff?
Sure. I was born and raised in New York City. This was way back in the 1960s.
Come on, you don't look like that. No.
Mid 1960s.
Okay.
You know, it was a time where after the Second World War, the approach to dealing with minorities, with people who didn't have much money, was to put them in projects buildings. In other words, these very tall structures were set aside with very small rents, and you put as many people in them as possible. And because there was very little money, there was a crime and you know, a kind of chaotic environment. In the middle of all that, I was born to be a very sensitive little kid. You know, I perceived things very intensely. So it was very overwhelming, all of this kind of thing. I wasn't a tough guy. I like to read. I like to play with little dinosaurs, watch cartoons and Sesame Street and you know, and things like that. These were unusual traits for a child in that environment at the time, and so in order to kind of protect myself, I placed myself in a cocoon of fantasy. So I became a dinosaur.
Okay.
I became Godzilla.
Okay.
I drew pictures. I stayed in my room and created characters out of objects from around the house to amuse myself and to tell stories that never ended. I loved this notion of a narrative that can continue on and on and on, because the longer it was there, the more I can be in my own private world. Sometimes you need new ideas. So I would always be reading books and watching television and looking for things that can give me the food to continue to tell stories.
Amazing. Thank you so much, because I think this is the most important part of us, which now actually, because of stress and so like task on to-do list, we constantly are forgetting the most important. We should stay childish every single day, just a little bit. We need to be kids, like you told about this program, which we are coming later, Never Surrender, that because you're still a kid, grown-up kid, right? So
Yes.
it helps you so much, maybe because maybe I can reflect very much, because due to some reasons, I made in Soviet, I also put in one of these boxes, like you said, block houses, and we had so many challenges, way too much, maybe the New York City. So I also had to be very inventive and make my dolls from flowers and
there you go.
stuff. And also I was very imaginable, because we didn't have money to buy toys for me, so I really needed to imagine, and I believed I was playing that I was a princess, but I suffered from very special disease with my skin, so it was always dermatological problems. And they shaved me, and I couldn't have like hair, but I found like some special type of clothes and put hair, and I just imagined it was very long hair, like or you can have panty, even you can have you can have pantyhose, put hair and hair like right. So actually it's true, it's like it's sometimes adversity actually creates so much cool stuff. It's really flourishing creativity, I know. And thank you so much for sharing that you were like sensitive guy, and everything was, so you should kind of isolate you in your cocoon. I can also understand that very much, because I have neurodiversity, and now I reflect backwards more and more that I didn't know that, but actually I displayed that already in my childhood. That's why my behavior was quite different from other kids. Yes. And but it's amazing, because then it was your inspiration for storytelling, because you said that it's never ending, right?
That's right.
Still now it's never ending. Amazing.
That's right. The stories had to become better, because I also was afflicted with a kind of neurodiversity. It was, in my case, obsessive compulsive disorder. This notion that thoughts can be out of your control and intrude into your conscious mind, placing information there that is frightening. Some of it can be based on fact. Oh, somebody's trying to get in the door. I need to check the door to the apartment to make sure it's locked.
Yeah.
And if it is locked, I'm going to think maybe I should unlock it to make sure that I lock it. And so I'm repeating a behavior. But then it becomes irrational. Maybe somebody will come through the window. We're living on the 13th floor. No one's coming through the window.
Yeah.
But there's this irrational sense that it's bothersome because you can't control it. You can't tell it to shut up. It's going to continue. So I had to start thinking about how to contend with these thoughts, and sometimes they would manifest in the stories that I would tell or the drawings that I would draw.
Amazing, because actually then we are from the same tribe. Probably you're my brother, or ocean, because I have the same disorder. obsessive compulsive, and I sometimes have really severe periods. And the most tragic was when actually I got my first intrusive thought, and it was very, very damaging for me. I had no idea that we could have intrusive thoughts or automatic or negative thoughts, because uh, it's always, how can you have knowledge about something that you have never met before? And it was 14 years ago. So I've got this the first, it was very damaging, because I got the first intrusive thought that I was damaging somebody. And actually it was the person, or it was a baby who I was loved that much, because actually I'm always into babies. I've been working in orphanage for kids with special needs so many years. I have adopted two beautiful kids with special needs.
Wow.
From Ukraine, right? I was working voluntarily in special orphanages with most sick kids, right? I put all my for free, like my very first dream was from 6 years old, come back, make myself like capable to help, because sometimes I had days in my life I didn't have not enough food or clothes, small. But I swear, okay, I have my head, I can study, I can work hard, but coming back and be with kids, and it was many years like that. And my first intrusive thoughts, it was about damaging one of the kids. Yeah. Can you imagine what started happening in my head? Because I had no idea that actually thoughts and OCD thoughts, we have no control, and as much as we push them, they are coming harder on us, right? Yes. That's why, like, it's amazing that you could find your way by like exposing yourself, and you're using them for story. Now I know, because I go through a lot of exposing therapy and a lot of stuff, how you should maybe smile on them. So even I'm speaking now about you, it makes them not that scary, right? So sure. You really know what was it. That's why actually I started this podcast, because I believe by showing our stories, you and me, many people out there, it was me before. I believed I became crazy. I believed I'm not worth to live because I'm bad person. If I start watching these pictures, right? It was all kind of, oh my God, it's yeah, you know what I mean, actually. But it's not.
I do very much so. I'm relating to what you're saying, because I thought those thoughts made me a bad person. Exactly. And so there was some a self-loathing and enormous discomfort with myself. That changed when I started to be 12, 13 years old, and I was a loner, and I went out into the city and realized that many young people, mostly a little older than me, because I was in rough environments by myself, but they also were haunted by poor mental health and trauma and the problems that you encounter in the inner city. And I thought to myself, oh, maybe it's not just me. And I empathized with these people. Some of them were not nice, some of them would have harmed me, but I understood where they were coming from, and thought to myself, I have to, we have to fix this. This is a problem. And in that respect, I began to move toward my chosen vocation, my chosen job as a storyteller, as somebody who can create narratives that are being perceived by very large numbers of people, or contributing to narratives that are seen by many people. And in those narratives, there are codes that can be uplifting, that can provide a little bit of instruction for how to navigate out of chaos and into something that is productive.
Yes, to transform that. Yes, amazing story. Oh my. Yes, that's what I would like you to tell us about. because transmedia storytelling, right? And you're a pioneer in this, and where you can create immersive, participatory story worlds and engage audience, like you said, now across multiple platforms and drive lasting change because exactly so you impact so many people. And in your experience, because our subject is diversity and it's all kind of diversity, how do you believe diversity actually, what role plays in your approach in storytelling, in narrative? What do you think, how you about diversity and inclusion then, because they are like sisters or brothers, right?
Sure.
And tell us, of course, about your transmedia, about your founder of this beautiful platform. Yes.
Well, certainly. Well, in terms of diversity, remember that it didn't matter so much what your race was when you're put into those block buildings. It matters how much money you have, which is very
Okay.
little. And so, you know, there were Black and Latino and many other races back then, all crammed into the same buildings. Yes, sometimes there was conflict between races, but for the most part, we had to get along in order to, you know, to even live every day. So, so it became a common acceptance for me that that I was in a diverse world, and that there was little that distinguished my Latino heritage from my Black friends, you know, other than some kind of skin color, which didn't matter. We all were poor,
Okay.
you know, just stuck together. So, and we benefited by enjoying one another's culture. It
Okay.
was just a big, you know, party. You know, when we weren't hurting each other, we were having fun together. So, getting older, um, uh, this was a natural aspect of my storytelling. So when I was in the one of my first jobs was with a comic book company, and I came up with an idea to make stories out of Magic: The Gathering, which is a card game that was started to be very popular in the 1990s,
Okay.
and they said, well, what story do you want to tell? And I said, well, I want to tell the story of, you know, this kind of brown skin street urchin from the poorest part of this fantasy kingdom,
Okay.
who has some kind of magical spark. And he's scarred because I have scars on my face from various problems as a child, and so you know, diversity was simply a part of my storytelling, and nobody stopped me at the time. But then I thought to myself, well, there's a card game, and now there's going to be a comic book. But what if there were also novels and a video game and an arcade game and magazines and even a website, which was very new back in the 1990s. And I wanted to do all of that. And everyone said, why? It's a
Yeah.
comic book, leave it alone. And I said, well, don't you want to make more money? Magic is very popular. My comic books were very popular. I was very happy. It was the first time I made, you know, money.
Yeah.
And they said, well, we don't want to spend too much money. And I said, leave that to me. I'll take care of it. We'll figure it out. And we did. And they kept saying, well, do you want to repeat the same story over and over again? That's what we usually do. And I said, no.
No.
The video game should be about this, which takes place after the comic books. The
Okay.
comic books take place in a different time from the novels, And so it was like I was creating puzzle pieces that the reader, the person enjoying the story, got to put together.
Yeah.
And then when they realized that there was a design sensibility to the overall narrative, the transmedia narrative, they became very excited.
Okay.
And everything sold more and more and more. Very, very successful. And that established for me a process that I used to found my company, Starlight Runner, with this notion of transmedia storytelling. My inspirations were things like Marvel Comics, all those superhero
Yes.
comics are all
Yes.
connected to each other. And Japanese pop culture had something called Japanese media mix, which meant that the narrative is reinterpreted in different ways on different media platforms, and so you get a kind of universe there. So I took inspiration from those two things, put them together, and became a transmedia storyteller.
Oh my God, you like took a lot of very already tasty ingredients and put them together, and then you made like the new completely, I don't know, magical, not salad sometimes like just, yeah, but I don't know, something extravagant dish for fine dining, right? And because it's
Well,
very
or
different.
chocolate cake, whatever.
Yes, yes. My favorite now is salted caramel and the peanut butter. Yes, like everything together, and then even better.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much. It was very
Mm.
interesting because yes, transmedia. I believe. Okay, I could hear. Then you start like logically you
Sure.
could understand, but then it's like a kind of holistic approach. It's very interesting even to find out, because probably now we are taking that kind of granted. We don't reflect
Isn't
very
that funny? Taking it for granted. Nobody understood for almost 20 years I was doing this. And
can you
people were like, what are you doing? It's very difficult. You're asking me to cooperate with a different division of my company to create something that fits together. Why?
why
um,
why
and I would tell them because fans will love it. As imaginative young people, we like when something fits together. We like to appreciate the design sensibility of a universe that we can navigate from the game to the comic book to the novel to the movie, and it all fits together
together.
in a beautiful, elegant way. And only after it succeeded many times, Marvel Cinematic Universe, Star Wars, things like that, that now today people are like, oh, and even today sometimes it's difficult to figure it out. It also, by the way, is applicable to smaller projects, and I travel. I've been to Denmark. I've been to uh,
Oh,
um, Holland and Italy, and teach this because it's applicable all over the world to smaller transmedia projects that are helpful. Doctor Who in the
yes.
UK, things like that.
Okay, amazing. Yes, and I'm sure every, like you said, now that before now between your departments and the lecture, by building collaborative stories and across cultures, it's critically important and navigate then um, to kind of also, if we are speaking about diversity, it's so I think crucial that you've been raised in this environment, that you have been all equal more or less, right? And then when you tell also your story, uh, you can put your projection. It should not be, because it's when it's cross-cultural story, you should also have the balance, because it should be very true story to every culture, but it should also like respond on the this expansive global narrative, right? That it can be also liked by everybody. But also about kids, like now I start reflecting. It's true, because if you have somebody or something which you really like I don't Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, Snoopy, whatever, and right, if you see Peach, you love it. If you see toys, you love it. If you see gummy, if you see then video games, and see, we all also about collecting stuff, right? We love collecting
Yes,
stuff. If it's about the
that's
same
right.
stuff, oh my God, of course you would like to have more and more, because you already love the story, you already attracted to the root, and then of course you want to have more and more. That's amazing.
That's
Yes.
right. Absolutely, absolutely. There
Yes.
is one of the things that we specialize at Starlight Runner is to understand why there is this love for the intellectual property.
Mm-hmm.
And this love tends to transcend cultures and races and belief systems, because there are underlying values that are universal. You know, they're just placed in a certain combination that makes the intellectual property, the IP, distinct. And that's where many companies make mistakes. They change it. They don't understand why we love this thing and want to collect it and to have it all, and they kind of go off the rails, and then we lose interest.
Yeah, if you change your core values, right, which is
That's right.
no, then it's somehow it's like, oh, okay, oh, that's not right for me. That is not. It will be, yes. We are very sensitive, especially kids. Oh my God, no, this is not that one.
That's right. Exactly.
Exactly. Okay. My next question, which I'm so proud of you. I'm so thankful that God, so God, He's sending His best angels to the earth to make a lot of stuff, because He cannot be everywhere. It's too much to do. So He has you and other people to talk by His with help of His words and thoughts, but also action. And I know you are the person of action, and I'm so proud of you. And I just can uh, make a little bit context about this. It's about this program, Never Surrender, right? And
Ah,
overcome obstacles, challenges, and bullying. Because I've been bullied, oh my God, of course, because I was, like you said, I was in this blockhouse, right? And we had 6 entrances. All the kids went to the same school. So
hmm.
all the kids played in the same yard, and they knew about family and story. They knew everything, whose father was like alcoholic, like mine, right?
Ah,
So then
hmm.
of course everybody was bullying me because I'm that and that and that, and a lot of torture, a lot of stuff. So you also, I know, I could see from your rolics on YouTube when you were talking about beautiful program, you are traveling, right, and teaching
Hmm.
all over the world. So, and you mentioned, because you have been bullying as well, right, and how it's impacted you. And I think it's pandemic of our world, like stress and bullying is two worst time ever. And every single part we do, not just speaking like you admit, it's also very powerful, but we do like you do. So I would like you to share more about for our audience about this program exactly, because I know it's your painful experience, but I love it so much that you can transform your adversity, your pain
Sure.
into this program, which can save so much painful experience for other kids, right? Could you please tell us about Never Surrender?
Sure, sure. Never Surrender is my own little a creation. It's a lecture that I give, and I have given it all over the world. Hundreds of thousands of young people, particularly, have heard my talk, which really is just about sharing my experiences as someone who was subject to abuse, bullying being just one type of abuse. And and but it's not just about anti-bullying. It's not just about we must fight the bullies, because when I was young, um, in order to protect myself from bullies, because again I was a little neurodiverse, and also I was born with a facial paralysis. The birth process paralyzed the left half of my face, so that's why I blink with one eye and smile
Oh.
with one part of my face, and the other is you know, kind of still. When I was little, it was very pronounced. There's been some corrective surgery.
Mm,
There was lots of teasing. Why is your mouth like that?
mhm,
Twisted mouth. You know, you look stupid. You know, all
mhm.
that sort of thing. Um, and as you get a little older, it gets worse and worse. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
especially because you also are valuing different things from the people around you. I was not interested in sports or you know, motorcycles or cars or things like that. You know, I like dinosaurs and Japanese anime. so so as a self-defense mechanism, I would be very aware, very alert, because you could get hurt, you know, not just teased, but somebody could punch you.
Mhm,
So that alertness became listening,
mhm,
listening. And what I would do is any new room as a child, this would happen. Any new room I would step into, I would look around
mhm,
and look at the behavior of the people in the room, the other kids and so forth. And it didn't take long to figure out who was going to be the most likely person to be the bully, right?
mhm.
Um, um, but uh, you know, I was very lucky because my mom was a loving person and told me, try to love people, try
Mhm.
to love. And so I believed her. What a fool. But I believed her. So if I started from love, I would think to myself, why is this child like this? Why is this kid behaving so poorly? And I listened long enough. When you listen, little things come out, you
Mhm.
know, and then you can tell, oh, that child is abused. I know what that feels like. You
Mhm.
know, they're just taking it out differently from me. Me, I'm worried about who's going to open the door. That person is going to hit you before they're hit, you
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
and so forth. So in listening, you can figure out how to communicate with people more effectively. And the most effective thing you can do is to listen.
Mhm.
Think about it, Valeria. How many people in your life genuinely listen to you? Like listen to you because they love you and are interested in what you have to say, and you can tell that they're really listening because they're not making something up to say while you're talking.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yes.
They're absorbing you. How many people is that? For me, it's just a few, right? But how many for you? Not
Mm.
many.
Really listening, even if you know what I you talking about now, like caring, and even if I'm talking, right? I can check if I just put like Mickey Mouse between words, and will be some reaction, or people already make his answer
That's right.
because he just listened first 3 seconds and
Hmm.
already want to answer interrupt. No,
Yes. Very few.
very few.
So listen, here's the big lesson. If you take anything out of our discussion today,
I'm
the
I'm taking
the
a lot
answer
of.
is this is to listen, to genuinely listen is a treasure. And if you are encountering someone who is antagonistic, my philosophy is to acknowledge that their anger is real. Emotions are real. They're in your mind. They're chemicals that are
Mhm,
firing and creating an emotion in your
mhm,
mind.
mhm,
So I start out by saying, okay, that's real, um, but but what is the reason? What's the cause? What is happening here? What are you interested in? What do you love? What's something that's going to make you less angry?
Mhm.
Um, and to communicate that to that person, and then shut up and let them speak. Um, uh, they, it's a treasure to them. They're suddenly, they stop and start talking to you. It's sometimes they don't trust you, right? So it might take a little while, but eventually they start to seek you out, to speak to you, and then you can say, listen, I need you to stop bothering me. If you just do that, I will listen to you more. We can have more of these kinds of conversations, but you got to adjust this behavior a little bit. It worked. It worked, and it has worked over and over again throughout my life. In Hollywood, there are bullies. you
Mhm.
know, in
Yeah.
all walks of life, there are bullies. But when I listen and give them that gift, suddenly they will adjust their behavior in order to receive more of it. And if they don't, I you know, I don't spend much time. I have
Mhm.
to move on, right? You don't need that in your life too
Mhm.
much, right? And so forth. So the first lesson I learned was in listening, and in listening, that taught me to listen to fans, the audience, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, uh, Many of my peers at the comic book company and video game company, they said, "Oh, fans are toxic. Don't listen to them. Just do what you feel like doing, and if they like it, great. If they don't, they'll find something else," and
Mhm.
so forth.
Mhm.
And I said, why wouldn't I listen to my audience? I'm interested in what they liked about what I did,
Mhm.
and what they didn't like. I don't. It doesn't hurt me. What are words, Valeria? They are vibrations in the air.
Mhm.
Vibrations in the air don't hurt me.
No.
You know, no. Um, you know, if somebody is trying to be hurtful to me directly over and over again, it's time to move on.
Mhm.
But if somebody's complaining about my work, I want to hear what the deal is.
Mhm.
Maybe they misunderstand me, and I can correct them. We live in a world where you can talk directly to your fans, and that lesson to deal with the fans as if they were bullies,
Mhm.
that I wanted to become friends with, was a big breakthrough. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Transmedia storytelling is not just about telling a story across different media platforms. Transmedia storytelling is also
Yeah.
about acknowledging the dialogue with
Sharing.
the
Yeah.
audience,
Mm.
the architecture for dialogue, I call that.
Mhm.
And that's wonderful. That's something you can only do for the first time in this day and age.
Mhm.
Never in history, did you have that, unless you go all the way back to prehistoric times, where the circle is sitting around the fire and you're telling the story to the circle. Then you could see them
Mhm.
respond, and you can adjust your narrative so that you can create enchantment, right? We can do that now. We can hear thousands, even millions of people,
Yeah.
and when you listen to them just right, you can create enchantment.
Mhm. Amazing, because I agree with you 100% that it's not about actually sometimes behavior, but it's always about root. And I know we know already, right? Happy people want and happy other people. Hurt people want, they transmit, they want to hurt people. Of course, bullying, like you said, of course, he just again projecting what he's getting from parents or from other environments, probably because he doesn't have enough love and attention by himself or herself in life, right? That's why it's his kind of also kind of protective mechanism, right? But because
That's right.
suddenly stop and you start asking, it's the less what the bully probably uh, expect. And then it's first time when you, through the a lot of month, that somebody was actually interested and gave a little bit attention and care about this person, right? So
That's right.
that's exactly, I understand what you mean. And then it can be so powerful. Oh my God. Because
100%.
then you disrupt the monster, the
You're
platform.
disrupting. That's
Yeah.
right.
Because like, oh
Yes.
my God, this is
So
energy.
that's just part one, though.
Yeah.
Because yes, we empathize and understand where the bully is coming from, and we listen and possibly create a bond
Possibly. Yeah.
that diminishes the bullying. But that's not where I end with Never Surrender. Never Surrender is also about becoming a leader in your own life. It's easy to submit to bullying.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? You don't have the strength to fight the bully. There are too many, and so forth. So there is a discipline that I talk to in my audience with regard to becoming the master of your own life. And sometimes this is a controversial aspect of what I'm talking about, because they go, oh, why should the victim do anything? It's the bully that has to stop bullying. The victim shouldn't have to do anything. It's terrible that the victim needs to lift a finger to do anything about bullying. And I say, yeah, you can. Right, you can go that way, but I would recommend that someone who is bullied, or even somebody who's just introverted or dealing with neurodiversity and so forth, um, uh, do this orientation. Where am I? What is my sense of this environment? Where are the dangers in this environment? Where are the possibilities in this environment? How can I make this work? So I teach awareness, to not be in here. This is a tool. You can use this to get information. Sometimes that's tricky these days, but also, it's like a science fiction device. It can do so many different things, but if you get lost in it, you're not experiencing the wonders of life. So I tell people, I'm not condemning the iPhone. Very nice, but where are you? What are the dimensions of the space you're in? What is nature like? Where are you in the world? What's going on around you? Where are the stars in the sky? Learn them. Learn everything around you, because when you do, Valeria, when you do, you know better how to move through life.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. Yeah.
If I am the captain of a ship at sea, I need to know where I am at all times, right? If I don't, I'm in trouble. So I like to teach young people about how to understand where they are and how beautiful it is. And if it's not beautiful, if it's chaotic, where are you going to go? What are you going to do to change the situation? That is number 3, right? We listen, we orient. That's orientation. And number 3, navigation. How do I move to become successful, to become a leader, to become somebody that either is no longer bullied, or that if they try to bully, it doesn't matter? Because, Valeria, I get bullied all the time. Today, anyone who's on social media is going to be criticized. I have a lot of criticism, you
Uh,
know, of
mm,
course, you know, even from some old friends from my old neighborhood, go, why are you still doing this nerdy, geeky stuff? You
mhm,
know, aren't you rich? Can you give me some money?
mhm. Yes, yes.
Uh, but so navigation. What does it take to navigate? It takes to You have to know your destination, right?
Mhm,
So you need to crystallize in your mind where you're going in the long journey, but also what the next stop is,
mhm,
right? And that means understanding where what the direction is and what the practical work that you have to do to get to that next stop. You have to understand everything. You know, so many people that I talk to, they say, "I want to do what you're doing.
uh-huh,
I want to create fantasy worlds. I want to make video games. I want to develop superhero characters." And I go, "Great. Do you know how?" And they go, "Well, I'm going to publish a comic book." And I
mhm.
go, "Have you started drawing yet?" And they go, "No."
Yeah.
Do you know the language of comic books? How to place the panels on a page?
Yeah.
Mm-mm. And all that sort of thing. So I go, you can't just blink your eyes, like a genie, king, and
Yes. Yes.
it's going to appear.
Uh-huh.
You need to understand that it takes enormous amounts of work
Yeah, and
to
discipline.
to achieve these things. Discipline, mastery, um,
Yeah.
and I tell them it's hard, but if you don't think it's fun to do that, you've got to do something else.
Yeah.
Find a different thing. So navigation is the hard work of getting from where you are to where you want to be. When you have these three things: listening, orientation, where
Mhm,
am I, and navigation, where am I going, bullying drops down. You
mhm,
know, they stop doing it actively because leaders are not bullied; they're
mhm,
leaders.
mhm.
Or the attempts that they do are rhetorical. It's just language.
Just, yeah.
And I look at that and go, "Oh, that's interesting. Do you have a point?
Mhm,
I'm interested. Tell me why you're saying this."
mhm.
Sometimes they have interesting insights. Usually, they don't.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, it's exactly right because when you say like you know where you are and you are navigating with awareness and the ability to listen, then actually, yes, they probably can even still, make this noise for you. But again, when they say, right, that your energy is flowing there, where is your focus? And then because you know where you should project your focus, and then flows and flourish your energy. So all this noise suddenly it can come. Please, it's like intuitive thoughts. Please come, stay with me, have fun. Okay, I don't care. It's the same actually, basically. But if you are focused everywhere, you are not navigating, you are not listening, and like you said, not orientation, then you will be focusing a little bit everywhere and just give these persons your energy. Your most valuable gift, it's your energy, right? Your health and your time. Then they can bother you because you let them bother you also. But it
That's
takes
right.
discipline. Oh yes, because motivation, it's this lady is coming and leaving, but discipline, it should be the girl you always best friend with. So yes, I know.
Um, Valeria, this is a very nerdy analogy, but I
Mhm.
loved Star Trek.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
um, and in Star Trek, the captain of the ship is sitting on the bridge,
Uh-huh.
and they encounter an alien. And the alien comes on the screen and goes, "Row, row, 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 row."
Yeah.
And they're very angry. and you don't even understand them sometimes, and they look fierce,
Mhm.
and I'm on my bridge. I know where I'm going. I know what I need to do. I sometimes I need the help of this creature.
Mhm.
um, so I start by listening. Ah, how interesting. Right? It's not, oh, screw you.
Mhm.
I'm going to fight with you because you're yelling at me. I have a job to do,
Yes. More important.
and right. So then there's so by saying, ah, how interesting, half the problems in my life go away.
Okay.
It's not a
Yeah.
problem. They're communicating something to me. Sometimes they have a legitimate reason, and sometimes they don't understand, or sometimes they're just trying to mess with me, to harm. That does happen. So what I do, shields, right? To carry my analogy one step more nerdy, there's shields. I can use them and still try to communicate. And if they're just going to attack me, maybe sometimes it's time to leave.
Yes.
I got to go. We'll
Life.
figure it out another time, and so forth. And it is of such benefit. So that's never surrender.
Mhm.
Valeria. That's what I do in terms of what I teach. Generally, I have lots of specifics and case studies, and I tell my sad story because everybody likes a good sad story. But there's a happy ending, I've gotten to share that around the world. But I also put some of this into the stories that I tell in popular culture.
Mhm.
So I'm working on one right now with the Walt Disney Company that has a lot of this a kind of content in the story, and I'm so happy to be able to do that for young people.
Amazing, Jeff. I'm so inspired. Oh my God. I would like really one day to be present when, because it's cool. We're on TransMedia now, and of course interacting, but it's always also energy, and this kind of special vibration when you are present in the audience. So I hope one day I can be on your live three not 3D 4D lecture or something.
and,
Yeah.
and to speak to the game changer of diversity, again, to go back to Star Trek, one of the philosophies of Star Trek is the IDIC, infinite diversity in infinite combinations. That is, the Vulcans believe that the combination of all intelligent beings in the universe can affect positive change, can lift all of us together, and I abide by that philosophy.
Wow.
If somebody is attempting to divide, to make me angry, see what I'm saying? To make me be against another human being,
Mhm.
I will always have suspicion. Why are
Yeah.
you saying this?
What
This
is your
is,
purpose?
yeah. What is the purpose? Usually, when you dig down deep, it's so that they can profit. You
Yeah.
know,
Hmm.
division is money making. Diversity, the combined diversity, is unifying. You can fix entire systems
Yes.
by pooling diverse ideas.
Exactly. Oh wow, Jeff, it's so cool. You need to give me, because now, okay, I don't have time. I want to listen to you. So that's
Ah,
why I'm even not using 1 second to make a note. These three things which you already learned me, and in these 4 letters. So, but I hope that we can chat afterwards, and we are friends now. So I
sure.
can I can be yes, annoying a little bit more after, ask you, can you please just give me, because now I was listening. And now I want, before we wrap it up, of course, let's let's come back. We started from that, but it's so important for me, and I understand also for you, the role of neurodiversity, right, in narratives, in our society, and our still very close lens, not that wider, how still it's approached today. It's taboo, it's stigma, it's prejudice, like the bullying, everything, right? But we know that people like you and me, because we are so creative, we propel this in this society, and yet we don't fit in yet, because when
It will
we
change. It
yeah,
will
yet,
change. I have faith that it will change. Look, we're neurodiversity has always been with the human race. We are
mm-hmm,
becoming more aware of it,
mm-hmm,
um, but also there is more of it now. Why? Well, you can say that bad things are happening, diet and pollution and
mm-hmm.
things like that.
Best level, yeah.
But I also see that people who are neurodiverse, and I speak with hundreds of them,
Mm-hmm,
Valeria, hundreds, uh, um, they see the world in interesting ways. Many of them see the world systemically.
mm-hmm,
They are capable of absorbing titanic amounts of information
mm-hmm,
and processing it in a way that allows for a unique perspective on the world and a unique approach to solving problems.
mm-hmm.
Um, if we pay more attention to the way that they are seeing things and help them to socialize a bit more,
Yeah.
to approach them with greater understanding, we're going to benefit a great deal from them, because our problems, Valeria, are systemic.
Mm-hmm,
They're deeply complicated flaws in a series of highly complex systems.
mm-hmm.
We have to stop worrying about who the bad guy is. The bad guy is simply taking advantage of the flaw in the system.
Mm-hmm.
So if we if you take out the bad guy,
Mm-hmm.
there's a new bad guy.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
the CEO is fired, there's going to be a new CEO,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So how about we turn our attention from the vilification of an individual to the commitment to repair the system itself.
Mm.
Um, uh, Neurodiverse people understand that, intrinsically understand that. That's why you and I are having this conversation. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that gives me hope for the world.
How do you think, if you and me, we like should sit together, like, one night with pizza or something? I said, okay, Jeff, you and me, Valeria, we are so already, let's say, with we are gifted with uniqueness. We are, right? We are not like other people, but let's brainstorm. What could we help? We already doing much to build little bit more inclusive environments for us and for people like us, because I think it's knowledge. It's like knowledge, like information, and probably also identification, right? It's still, we need to raise awareness that what is normal, and it's okay what is now normal, what is not normal. It's we should really change. We should rebrand the brain. We need, right?
Well,
Because
it's easy. We have to model it. People have to see what that's like. And that means we need to change our storytelling, right?
okay,
Right
yeah,
now, most storytelling, I'm good, you're bad,
uh, yes,
I
yes,
win. That's old school. You
mm-hmm,
needed that in order to survive the jungle.
mm-hmm,
um, Today, we are like this.
yeah,
This is how we're communicating with each other, a system.
mm-hmm,
So, but there are very few stories that model
That we
this.
need like this, not like.
Yes, right. In
Mm,
all the stories, the CEO
yeah, yeah.
is fired.
Mm,
In all the stories, the bad guy is defeated. But in the next story, new bad guy, the system stays the same. Think of
mm,
Star Wars.
yeah.
It's only ever been the same thing, right? I'm Jedi, you're Sith.
Yeah.
Billions of people die every time we fight.
Mm,
Billions of people die.
yeah.
That's
Who is winning? Nobody.
who's winning this. It's not productive. You
Yeah.
know, it reconfirms certain fundamental values. It's very
Mm,
simple, but we're no longer in a simple world. We're in a complex world. So we need to teach dynamic reconciliation. How do you resolve these problems so that you can fix the system?
mm,
So our stories need to change a little bit. There are already some stories that do this. We need more.
mm,
So that's to me. That's how I was impressed when I was young. I read stories. I read books. I watched TV. I went to the movies. I got my advice from Sherlock Holmes and Gandalf and Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock. Well, we need new characters, new narratives to help us understand how the world has changed and is changing very, very rapidly.
yeah, it
So to
is.
me, that's the answer,
Mm-hmm.
of
Cool.
Larry.
Amazing. Oh my God, I learned so much from Jeff. You are my hero today. And today, yes, we discussed, okay, most very, very important but challenging stuff. So I always like to at least to lift a little bit up in the end on and actually it's so cool, especially for you, because you and me, we are always kids and we started from storytelling and fairy tales, and that's why. And you
Sure.
already actually mentioned yourself, you didn't know that I will be using this one.
Wow.
Wow, you see? Cool. I was in now you see I told you I was in Marrakesh, Morocco, and because I have this special tradition in the end of the episode to use my genie lamp. So I bought genie lamp, and I love fairy tales. I love pink one. So okay, but tricky. We can imagine that this is me inside, but it's also everything changed rapidly. So the narrative of my story also just one wish I can grant. Sorry, not three.
Ooh.
So please, I know, because probably it's a little bit difficult to change the whole system with one wish, but if we try to wish a little bit easier, but this is your wish, can be, because cool, you are from actually this great imagined planet, so you could really wish, I don't know, wow, everything. So what would that one wish be that
um,
can be very easy,
uh,
like
well,
pizza?
I'll conform to my brand, and say that if I had one thing to wish for,
Yeah.
it would be for all of us to be media literate. In other words, how media literacy is
Okay, literate,
the
because I
understanding.
liberate. I said,
No,
what?
no,
Liberate?
literate.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
can I tell whether what I'm looking at is real? This
Mhm.
is going to be a bigger and bigger problem.
Yeah.
How can I research and make sure that what I'm perceiving is based on fact,
Hmm.
not somebody's fiction that is designed to make me angry or to distract me from something that's important that's going on,
Hmm.
or to divide me from my friends or family or fellow countrymen. I wish that we all could instantly learn media literacy.
Amazing. Because I believe it's so important. Yes, because it's again about your lesson, that to be aware. Then first of all, you need to stay with your core values, right? Because if you know who you are, so then it can really help you navigate when every time you will be approached with something new. It's, I
But
know.
it also allows you to reassess your core values, because
Mm.
remember, some of us have core values that are destructive. you know,
And they're evolving as
and
well.
they right. So I need to be open enough to be able to reassess what I'm thinking,
Mm-hmm,
so
mm-hmm.
that I can evolve, so that I can gain new levels of understanding,
Exactly.
and so forth. So sometimes our core values hold us back. You know,
Yeah.
some people say that it is a value to trust no one, right? It is a value to yeah. It's a strange kind of thing, but these are sometimes cultural values.
Ages
They,
as
they
well.
they're twisted in a pessimistic and negative a kind of way, and this can be destructive. So
Mm.
we need to be able to reassess everything, to be malleable, so that we can be open to new possibilities.
Open, flexible. Yes, exactly. More, but
Okay.
okay, then perfect wish. And then I just thank you so much, Jeff. It was really honor. Of course, it was wow. Now I'm sitting, and I have so much because I love really food for my brain. I love food also.
Sure.
I love a lot. Like in dinosaur, but also I love most of all new food for my brain. And now I have, you gave me already like fine dining for 5 dishes. This evening I will sit in here like, okay, and now dessert, and now that and that. And
Sure.
yes, so thank you so much for your incredible journey and experience and our beautiful conversation.
Thank you so
Your word,
much.
powerful reminder that, like now we said, for transformative potential of storytelling, and for us to be more flexible, open, and that yes, it's so important. We should be literate, like you said, media literate. It's critically important. Now it's actually in this evolve
Yes,
rapidly digitalization. Every single minute starts. Yeah, I mean, like
that's
we are
correct.
all the
That's
time.
correct. So
Thank you.
invite your listeners, Valeria, to follow me on LinkedIn. The way
Okay.
that I met with you through
Yes.
LinkedIn.
Yes.
Jeff
Yes.
Gomez, look me
It's
up, very easy to
exactly.
find.
That's why I would like to talk to audience now. I would like to thank them that if they're still here, and I'm sure they're still with us. And yes, please follow Jeff Gomez on LinkedIn, and he is so kind there. And I swear, this is me. I just was brave enough and open, like he said. I navigated to his
Yes, you did.
LinkedIn account, and yes, it was amazing because we just schedule. I just shared with you the subject, very passionate subject of my podcast, and yes, I was so happy to experience your being flexible and open and find it the most important time. Time.
Hmm. Hmm.
This is available. Thank you so much for your
That's
time. So
great.
please follow for more inspiration, Jeff, and we are going to follow your journey, of course. So, and above all, I just would like to remind our audience that no matter what is happening now, and of course we should stay literate in media and everything what is happening in our life around, and political situation and everything. But above all, if we try a little bit, all of us human beings focus on empathy and collaboration, like you said,
Yes,
right? Because no story is ever created in isolation. Build authentic connections with others, learn from them, learn from each other, share with each other, and support each other. The most powerful narratives are born from communities of diverse, passionate people coming together.
that's right. Perfect.
Thank you again. Thank you so much for being with us. And yes, it was really a pleasure. And I hope in some time when you already navigate more toward this beautiful project you already shared with us on Disney, we can talk again.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. So thank
Okay.
you, and stay with us, tune with us, and follow please Jeff Gomez on LinkedIn. And actually, I started also following on Instagram. So you have also account there. So please also welcome our audience to follow us there. Thank you so much. Until next time.
Bye bye.